Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Arsenal on one on Arsenal Premier League end of week preview and review show. I'm joined today by Neil. How you doing, Neil?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. I'm just praying for better times for LFC.
So, for those of
Well,
you new to the
I've been doing that
channel,
since the
don't.
begin. I've been doing that since the beginning of the year, at season actually. So you know.
So, for those of you new to the channel, please hit the like button, do subscribe. It's just the two of us at the moment, but we may be joined by others a bit later. Today's show, we're just literally just going to have a kind of informal chat, I guess, Neil, seeing as we're devoid of our usual panelist. It's been a busy week. I know we've been chatting in our group about things that have been happening this week. So I'm going to kind of just try to get
You're
myself
gonna address
into.
the elephant in the room, and we know the elephant in the room wears sky blue right now.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go on a sort of go slow basis today. We're
Yeah.
trying to see if our esteemed friend of the light blue persuasion joins us so that we can get his commentary on that particular issue. But
His
other than that,
skewed commentary, you mean? His skewed commentary, you mean? You
yeah,
see things
it
through
is
sky blue glasses,
sky
not
blue
rose tinted,
glasses.
but
Yeah,
sky blue glasses.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, that's been a big story breaking. Um, we've had the end of the transfer window. We had a chat about that last week. Um, we saw the return of Good Evening Kirk. Hope you're well. Nice to see you in the chat. Don't forget to hit that like button.
Hey, Kirk, hope
Um,
all is well.
but yeah, it was nice to get back to Premier League action. Unfortunately for me, it wasn't quite as expected. The old banana skin came into full effect this last weekend gone for us Arsenal fans. It also came into effect for Liverpool fans. It also came into effect for Manchester City fans. So the only real winners this weekend were Spurs. Man United drew as well, didn't they? So
Yeah,
they
they drew
didn't
against
really.
Leeds, and they've got
Uh,
Leeds again this weekend, haven't they?
have they?
Yeah, I'm sure they've got.
That's
It's almost like they've got back-to-back games, because they were talking about it on Sky Sports that they've got them
mm,
again this weekend. I'm thinking, how can they have them again this weekend? They've just
yeah.
played them.
That's
So
really weird.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
really
but
weird.
that's the games that they're trying to fit in, isn't it?
Mm, okay. So last weekend, when we were on the show, we had just watched the Chelsea versus Fulham game, and that ended up in a 0-0 draw. And then we had a full list of fixtures on a Saturday morning, in which I'm going to bring them up very quickly. Give me a sec.
That's okay. I'll take a sip of my drink. I'm trying to find my stuff on. I've got the
Cool.
fantasy football app, and
Mm.
I just found it so hard to navigate compared to the online one. I can't even find the games. Can't even find the results. It's terrible. I'll work
Well,
it
there
out.
you
I'll work
go.
it out eventually.
It's up there for you.
Cool. Cool.
So we started off the Saturday morning game, the 12:30 game with Everton at home to Arsenal. A game that was basically it was the bounce back ability of a team when they get a new manager. Sean Dyche took the helm at Everton, and Everton looked like a completely different team on their first game under his tutelage. They came at Arsenal with a very strong midfield. I looked at the team sheet before the game and I was like thinking to myself, on paper, that's a very good team.
Yeah, but on paper, that team has played appallingly this whole season.
But if you look at the actual players individually that they played on Saturday, that team shouldn't be where they
No,
are,
they,
because
they
they've got
shouldn't
some
be.
very talented individuals. I mean, certainly the likes of Anana and Decore have been talked about glowingly for quite a while. You know, that they could be potential buys for bigger teams. Then, of course, they've got, you know, really good defenders, Tarkowski and Connor Cody, two
Yeah,
very highly talented centre backs.
Tarkowski. Well, we all know that Sean Dyche knows a lot about him.
Exactly.
Knows a
I
lot
mean,
about
that
him. So,
that was a match made in heaven. Tarkowski doing what his former manager
well,
has taught him
he
to
didn't
do
really do
for.
he didn't really do that badly when he played for Burnley under Sean Dyche either. He was a pretty decent player there as well.
Mm,
You know, it's a pity that the whole team actually got relegated through their form. But then he's found himself at Everton, who are going through the same sort of form. Dyche isn't really the type of manager to rescue teams. Well, he's only been with one team really for all these years, realistically. So it'd be interesting to see if they can continue the form. I'm hoping the answer is no, because we've got them on Monday,
mm.
and
And that's,
I'm
of
not looking
course,
forward to that game.
a local derby, which adds an extra sort of level of intensity to it. You know, there's nothing more.
Forget form when it comes to
Yeah,
local derbies. Forget form.
absolutely, absolutely. But you know, the fact that Liverpool have had a very wayward season, and Everton themselves
Wayward.
have had.
I can think of other words than wayward, you know.
Yeah, I'm being
Flipping
kind to
out.
you, Neil. I'm being kind to you.
I know. But we conceded another 3 goals
Yeah.
in our last game. I mean, that seems to be the number at the moment. 3 is the
Mm,
magic number for opposing teams.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, whether they can continue what they did against Arsenal. I mean, in all honesty, stats wise, Arsenal dominated possession. There was a 75% to 26%
Yeah.
possession game, but they closed down. They defended for dear life. Pickford had a very good game in
They,
between
they
the
they played
sticks.
they played the way Burnley used to play. They're very
Mm,
tough to break down. No matter what form or what they've done in the game before, they're a tough team to break down, and that's what
yeah,
Sean Dyche always did. So Burnley always never really had problems when it comes to relegation until they got relegated.
yeah,
But before that, they were, even they'll be playing a few bad games, and they'll come against a top team, and they'll still, get points against that top team. Normally 1 point, but you know,
mm,
very difficult to break down. And it looks as if Sean Dyche is using his experience with Burnley with Everton, and it came across last weekend against you guys.
yeah,
They didn't have that much possession, but then when you look at Burnley never used to be have loads and loads of possession, but they were
yeah,
able to put away their chances. They only had one or two, but that's all they needed to score a
yeah,
goal. And that's what happened
absolutely.
with you guys last weekend as well. I thought that you were going to dominate them. I thought it was going to be like a 3 or 4 nil to you guys. And
Mm.
I was looking at my fantasy football game. Yeah, I'm going to get loads of points in this one, but it never
Oh
happened. It
well,
never happened.
never mind.
You know,
So, as said, I mean, you know, we dust ourselves down. We come back again tomorrow. We play at 3 o'clock tomorrow at home against Brentford. Again, another very good team, another local London derby. Um, but we are on home turf where we've been very supreme. Um, you know, looking to make a comeback and to show that, you know, last weekend was just a blip. Um, I'm I'm having full faith in Mikel Arteta and what he does this weekend. If there's going to be one change, it will probably be Trossard for Martinelli. But I actually expect Martinelli to start the game. If that does happen, then that would mean that Arsenal have played an unchanged 11 for 6 consecutive games. So last weekend we played the for the 5th game consecutively, the same starting 11. As I said, I'm expecting it to start the same again for this game tomorrow. However, if there
But
is
that's
going
been
to
your
be a
key this
change,
season, right? That has been
yeah,
your key this season. The team has really been changed game in, game out. You
yeah,
change one player here, one player there, but the bulk of your players have been the same team, core team. And
yeah,
that's what's been getting you your results as well, because Arteta hasn't been playing tinker man
yeah,
and trying this and trying that. He's found something that works and he's practically stuck to it.
yeah.
Barring injuries, he's practically stuck to that, and it's worked for you guys.
Mm.
You
I
know,
mean, essentially, I've made it clear. I don't think the squad's big enough. I don't think it's deep enough. It might come back to haunt us, the fact that we didn't really delve into the transfer market the way I thought we should have done, to get all the types of players that we need. I personally am not over impressed by Jorginho, who had his debut last weekend, didn't really set any trees on fire. Most Chelsea fans think of him as Agent Jorginho, because whenever Chelsea send a player to us, they generally tend to ruin that position that they're playing in for us. I don't think to date we've had a player come to us and excel. Peter Cech, to a certain degree, but he didn't win anything. He won an FA Cup, yeah. Other than that, really didn't set the house on fire for us. And certainly loads of other players have come from Chelsea
Willian.
and
I thought
stamped the
Willian did all
place
right for
out.
you guys.
No, he was stink. He was awful. He was absolutely atrocious. He was. Literally, he was played by Emery for the complete first half of the season. Didn't have a goal, didn't have an assist. It was a complete waste of time. Finally dropped him for Saka, and then we suddenly now see what Saka can do, because he was playing second fiddle to Willian, and the rest is history.
Yeah, but he seems to have picked up his game with Fulham now, though. He's doing well at
He
Fulham.
does, but again, what's the output? What's he scored? 1 goal all season.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not. It's not. It's not something to write home about. It literally is. You know.
Yeah, but
I
he
think
makes a difference. He's
his
made a
his
difference at
best
Fulham, and they're
his
doing a
best
lot
days
better
are
now.
over. I mean, if Fulham really want to do something, they'll get someone faster, younger, fitter, hungrier.
Yeah, but
Willian is one of
they're
them.
playing on experience, though, aren't they? They need experienced
Yeah, but
players to
experience
stay
is
in the
one thing.
season.
But
So
we've seen what experience can do in a team. Lukaku, Aubameyang, Ronaldo. Yeah,
yeah.
apparently experience.
Yeah, but sometimes if you bring the wrong player in, you turn the whole team toxic.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's what
I mean,
Ronaldo
you
did
you
at
guys
United.
you guys you guys are suffering from experience at the moment.
Oh
Thiago,
yeah,
Milner, Henderson.
I still can't believe. Listen, I have a lot of respect for Milner, and I think that he should be moved into the back room because he can give lots of young guys coming through
Mm,
knowledge from his experience. But the fact that we've extended his contract by another 2 years, the
there
man's
you
what,
go.
36 now, 36, yeah. But then
Yeah,
to be honest, I can see why they've done it because FSG are not putting money into the club.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting for. Yeah,
Are
it's
they
not
not
like
looking to sell the club anyway?
yeah, but that's the room. That's rumor has it.
Mm,
Yeah, but what they're trying to do, they're trying to keep their business quiet. So the fans are going to get impatient because we don't know what's going on realistically because we've had nothing official come from them.
mm.
It's just rumors that they're looking at selling. The rumor was they were going to sell in February. We're coming up to half. Next week we'll be halfway through February, and then I've also heard that it's going to be March. Well, really? Is it March? You sure? Don't know.
There
It's just,
you go.
but this is just rumors, And until FSG decide to stand up and go, yeah, we're selling the club, or no, we're not. We're just looking for someone to buy some shares and invest in the club. We're in limbo.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that's where we are.
Anyway, we'll come on to Liverpool.
Oh, do
If
we
we
have
go
to?
down the list, the next game we talk
That was a
about
Villa
is
Leicester game.
Aston Villa Leicester. Now 6 goals. Um, an exciting game. What was your thoughts on the game? Did you watch it? Watch the highlights on Match of
I
the
watched
Day?
some. Yeah, I watched the highlights. To be honest, I was doing lots of different things at the time. But yeah, I tried to watch the highlights on the Leicester game. Um, Leicester have now look as if they're now starting to bounce back, and Villa, I think they're over that honeymoon period with Emery now.
Mm,
Yeah, I think to be honest, especially the way they played, I can see them struggling. I can see them struggling. They're definitely a mid-table team, and
mm,
I can't really talk about mid-table teams because where we are, but
yeah.
that's where they're going to end up this season. They won't get relegated,
I
but they
mean,
will
they're
be
only a point
mid-table.
behind you at the moment, Neil. Villa
I
are a
know.
point behind you. Leicester are, well, they're quite considerably behind you. They're
Yeah,
actually 3 points off the relegation zone.
yeah, yeah. But
So they
Leicester,
needed
we
that
know.
three. Those 3 points basically took them out of relegation
Yeah,
trouble
yeah, yeah. I
for a
think
week.
I think Leicester will continue to move up. I think Villa will probably stay where they are or close to where they are. I can't see them moving up and setting the league alight this
Mm,
season. Um, they did the same thing as well when Emery first came in. They looked really, really good,
mm.
But the honeymoon period is over now, and they're looking lackluster in my view. I just can't see them being more than a mid-table team at this moment in time.
Yeah,
But then
I
maybe
mean,
that's all they need. That's all they need this season is to be a mid-table team, and then Emery will work on bringing in better talent maybe next season during the
yeah.
summer in time for the next season. But we'll have to see what happens there.
I mean, the thing I would say in their favour is they have an excellent manager. You know, we obviously had Unai Emery at Arsenal. I'm not going to deny it. The guy is a genius. You know, to take the teams that he's taken and to achieve the results he has achieved with pittance in terms of, squad depth and value. You know, puts him up there as one of the very best in the game.
Yeah,
You
but do you
know,
think he'll do that with Villa?
well, what's he working with, bro? That's what you've got to ask yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
he's not working with Arsenal type players. He's working with Aston Villa. Yeah. Now, considering where they were when he joined and where they are now, as you said, there was a bump. Yeah, but that bump can't be sustained. They're not going to go on a 20-game unbeaten run. Yeah, he hasn't got the players.
Yeah.
But what he has is the nous to, I think, keep them safe, and try and hopefully build in the summer. I think that's their focus.
Yeah, we'll have to see what sort of budget
He's got a little bit. He's
given.
got a little bit of a red herring in the team. That's Philip Coutinho.
You think he's a red herring?
I do. I mean, it's a problem, isn't it? He's not playing. He's not performing. You know, he's costing big money. He's probably the highest paid player at the club, and he's not really at this stage worth anything close to the value that you sold him to Barcelona for, and
Yeah,
what
Barcelona
Villa are
destroyed
currently
him.
paying him by way of weekly wage.
Yeah, Barcelona destroyed him. When he went to Barcelona, he was on the moon. He
I
was
mean, the
feeling
funny
good.
thing is, don't forget, he went to Bayern on loan, yeah, and
He
won the
scored against
Champions
them,
League
didn't it?
with them.
Yeah.
And he started in the Champions League final team.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
thought that was the turning point. I thought, you know what? He should stay at Bayern because clearly he's found his feet. But I went back to Barcelona and it imploded again. So clearly
Yeah.
Barcelona was
They destroyed him. They destroyed his confidence. They left him
absolutely.
on the bench. They didn't do anything with him. He's come back from Bayern Munich on a high.
Mm.
Yeah. And then to go back to Barcelona, who's supposed to be one of the top teams, and then just be destroyed morally, mentally destroyed. You can see that he's a different player when he went back.
Yeah.
He was great at Liverpool, great at Bayern Munich, and terrible at Barca.
Yeah. So interesting. I want to talk very briefly about two players for Leicester, though, who I think excelled in that game. One you'd probably expect is James Maddison.
Yep.
Um,
I'd love to get him in our team.
how
Love to
is
get
he
him in
still
our
at
team,
How
man.
is he still at Leicester?
Do you know what? Right? He's there because there are certain players in the league that are loyal to their team. They know they should leave the team to win stuff, but they're just loyal. Maddison is just one of those players, just like Kane, one of those players. You know that he should have moved on years ago for another team to win more stuff, but for one reason or another, they stay at those clubs.
Mm.
You know, they
It
stay at those clubs. I'd love to
just
see
baffles
Maddison.
me.
I'd love to see Maddison at our team. He'd improve so much, and he'd improve our team,
Yeah.
especially the way we're playing right now.
Interestingly, Man City apparently have been linked with James Maddison for potentially because then what's his name? Bernardo Silva wants to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that could work? Is that a downgrade for Man City?
No. It's not. It's not. You got to look at their squad in general. Yeah, they lose a great player. They bring a player who's not as good, but has the potential to be good, and he's an English player. So he ticks a couple of boxes. Yeah. He's not. He won't be a terrible player by going. Well, do you know? He won't play any worse than Grealish, would he? Realistically,
Yeah.
Grealish came in on a lot of money. Yeah, and we all know that they paid way too much for him, and he's failed to deliver. Maddison won't come in with that sort of money, on that sort of money, and I can't see him doing worse than Grealish. Just can't see. He's just. I think he's just too talented for that. You know, but then again, he's going to have a lot of competitions for his position.
Yeah.
You know,
so also Newcastle are interested in him. So you got two top clubs who are interested in him. You know, I think this could be the summer where he finally makes that move.
I think he'd be better at Newcastle than City. He'd get more. He'd get a much quicker look in when it comes to games, and we know
well,
that.
who wants to play in the Championship anyway?
Yeah, it's true. Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, but we know that with Newcastle, we're the whole league is waiting for them to explode, right?
Yeah.
And start doing a lot. I mean, they're doing great right now, but we know they're
Yeah.
only going to get better. So this is probably the best time for any decent players bought by them to actually make a name for themselves when that, for when they explode. You know, when they become a much better team, because their name will always be known for when Newcastle got better and they started winning stuff. You know, and that will be in the next few seasons. We have to see what their attitude will be when it comes, because at the moment they seem to be limiting the amount of money they're spending right now, because we know they've got bucket loads and bucket loads of money, but for some reason they're not spending the way everybody thought they would be spending. Yeah, but then again, does anybody want to compete with Chelsea right now?
Indeed.
Buy all those plays and still struggle.
So there's the story. Man City are reportedly lining up a huge double transfer swoop.
You had to put that up, didn't you? You had to put that one up, didn't you?
Well, you know, it's what's being talked about. So obviously it looks like Man City are about to do some major changes in their team lineup. Obviously, you know, Cancelo leaving.
I still don't get that. I still don't get that.
And Silva wanting out means that,
Yeah.
you know, there's opportunities to bring in new players. So yeah, these look like some big changes afoot for Manchester City. The other player I wanted to talk about in Leicester is Iheanacho, who scored a goal and laid on 2 assists, I think, in that game. What's your thoughts on him, Neil?
Do you know what, right? To be honest, Iheanacho, from when he left City, I kind of thought that he was going to struggle. And at Leicester, I always thought he was very hot and cold. Yeah, when he's hot, everybody notices him, but he goes cold a lot. There's a lot of times he's just like, he goes missing. That's why he doesn't get many full games. How many full games has he had? Realistically, not many. He always comes on or goes off after a certain amount of time. So for me, he's not that player that Brendan Rodgers can rely on for a whole game. And if you're in that sort of situation, especially when Rodgers is managing, I feel sorry for you. I mean, I like Iheanacho. I thought that, at the right team, he could get better. I'm not sure if Leicester's that team that can bring that out of him, even though you do see it in spits and spurts. And yes, you saw it. You saw how good he can be against Villa last week. But how many weeks? How many weeks do you see him play like that?
Yeah.
But he has a lot of talent. Unfortunately, there's a lot of players who do have talent that you rarely see it, depending on the club that they're at. They have to find the right club that brings it out of them. Yeah,
Here's an interesting stat for you. I bet you didn't know this.
Really?
There you go. Wow.
Really? Nah. You must be talking about Leinster, the rugby club, yeah? You can't be really.
Yeah.
Okay, so the stat that you need to put against that is how many of those games have they won?
Probably not most of them.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. I mean, it
Oh,
shows. I mean, they might have
20.
scored first half goals, but they probably conceded a load of first half goals as well.
Yeah, but 20 first half goals in 21 games. That's a good return. If you don't concede anything, that's a very good return.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Yeah. You sure that the other one says Man City have scored 23? Shouldn't that say Haaland has scored 23? Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. The next game, Brentford versus Southampton.
Unfortunately, I
3-0
didn't
to
see that one.
Brentford.
I didn't see that one, so I can't comment
So
on
we
that.
had goals from Ben Mee and Bueno and Jensen. The lad in Bueno seems to be scoring on a regular basis. Obviously, the two piece from with him and James and Ivan Toney up top
Yep.
is going to be a huge cause for concern for Arsenal tomorrow. But having said that, we're very good defensively. I mean, yes, we let in one against Everton, but we've kept 10 clean sheets, I think it is, this season. We got a good win at Brentford earlier in the season. It could be a 2-1, 3-1 type of game where one of their prolific strikers just score a goal against us. But I'm hoping that we can at least win the game. But definitely Ivan Toney and Mbeumo do seem like a threat. As I said, Mbeumo scored again in that 3-0 win against Southampton.
I think they'll give you problems if they were watching the Everton game and they adopt that the same way of play. They'll give you problems because they definitely will score.
Yeah,
and they'll score more
than one. Yeah. Any other comments on that particular game?
I didn't see the game, unfortunately, so that's not one that I saw. So,
I mean, Southampton just doing Southampton stuff at the moment in the league. They're cannon. They're cannon for everybody's.
I think they're going down. I actually think this season they're definitely going down because season in season out, they're always around the relegation spots, but they always play well enough towards the end to get out of that. I can't see them getting out of it now.
Absolutely. I don't see it either.
I mean, they have to beat the teams around them, and I can't see them beating the teams around them.
Right, rock bottom of the table at the moment on 15 points, minus 21 goal difference. It's just not looking good. As Castillo says, it's not looking good, bruv. So business as normal for Brentford there. The next game, another informed team, Brighton. This is a game of the Seasiders, Brighton versus Bournemouth. Obviously, South Coast derby.
Brighton are going from strength to strength. I actually thought that from when Potter left and went to Chelsea, I actually thought that they were going to start struggling, but they actually seem a stronger outfit. They're getting the results that they need, and they're keeping where they are. They haven't really dropped down since he's left.
Yeah,
they've done well.
Well, they're sitting in sixth place in the table.
Exactly.
With 2 games in hand on Tottenham, who are above them. So technically, if they win their games in hand, they could be 5th in the table. only just a point or two short of Newcastle. So they're definitely in European contention, and I guess that's why during the transfer window, all advances for their players, specifically Arsenal, were looking to try and get Caicedo. Launched a major bid consisting of £70 million bid for Caicedo, and they were refusing point blank to let him go. Of
Well, you
course,
can see why, right?
we did get Trossard, but I think they basically said, look, European football is too valuable for us to allow that many of our players to go at this particular juncture. What was your
Exactly.
thoughts on this game?
Well, Brighton are Brighton, isn't it? I mean, they're very hot and cold as well at times. This game, I thought they were more hot than cold. Obviously, they scored a goal. But then again, they're going against a struggling team, Bournemouth. They're doing what some of the other top teams should be doing against the teams that I call cannon fodder. Just beat them. You don't have to
Yeah,
you don't have to win and like have loads and loads of position. You just need to have lots of quality, and they had that. They only scored one
yeah,
goal, but you can see that chalk and cheese between the two teams.
yeah,
Yeah, you can see who's staying up, right, and who's going to do well and who isn't in that game. Yeah, and
absolutely,
unfortunately, Bournemouth look as if they're going down as well.
absolutely. Um, De Zerbi doing a great job. I mean, obviously taking over from Graham Potter, big boots to fill, but seems to have just done it with
I,
so
I'm not sure.
little.
I'm not sure if it's big. I'm not sure if it's big boots to fill because,
Mm,
as I said, Brighton have only gone on from strength to strength since Potter has left. Right, Potter. It's you think about it. He's gone to Moneybags, Chelsea, and they're what 4 positions below Brighton right now,
mm,
3 or 4. You would have thought that it would be the other way around,
yeah,
right? Potter having now going to a club that has money, able to get the players that he probably dreamt of when he was at Brighton.
yeah,
Yeah, and yet they're struggling to put wins together. And Brighton can pick their wins. You know,
absolutely.
every team they go against, people are now thinking, oh, at one time it's like, oh, it's only Brighton. Now it's like, wow, we need to watch ourselves against this team. And as I
Mm,
said, since Potter's left, they've only got stronger. So it'd
yeah,
be interesting to see where they actually end up at the end of the season. But I think, do you know what? On their current form, definitely top 7. No
okay,
problem. Definitely a top 7 team.
cool. Never goal from Karol Mitoma. Their wonder buy. He's now scored in 6 goals in his last 9 games.
He's paid his money
Um,
back, right? He's paid his
yeah,
money
for
back
sure,
and then
for
some.
sure, for sure,
How much did they
absolutely.
pay? How much did they buy him for?
I can't remember, but it weren't much. Really wasn't much. Could be ending up as one of those where they do it. They do it over and over again. Buy players cheap and sell them for
Yeah,
expensive. So
yeah.
he could be the next one. The next game, Man United 2, Crystal Palace 1.
I, I don't know how they got away with that one.
Yeah, I mean they raced
I don't
into
know
a
how they got away with
2-0
that.
lead. They looked like they were comfortable, and then it just got hot headed. And Casemiro gets sent off.
Hot-headed, hot-headed, hot-headed. Seriously, right? Do you know? I was kind of flabbergasted because at the end of the day, refs. I know refs are told to let games go on and um, allow challenges and that sort of stuff to go through, right? And when you see those challenges now, you're now seeing players now getting brave and they're
Mm,
doing stuff thinking that, well, if the ref doesn't see, I'll get away with it. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, Casemiro could have had his hands anywhere on Thing's body. Yeah. Why the neck? Why the neck? To me, it just I just don't get it. I just don't get why. And the thing is, he had his hands around his neck. He took his hands away, and then he went back again. And I'm
yeah,
thinking, this guy's looking to get sent off. He's asking to get sent off. You know, no, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I understand that when it comes to passion, and you're sticking up for your players, and you're all starting to now do your handbags at dawn. You do silly things, But there are silly things you can get away with and silly things you can't get away with. What was going through his mind thinking he was going to get away with that?
Yeah.
You know, you might as well just give the
Crazy.
man a gun, innit? Might as well give him a gun. Let him go around shooting people and thinking, well, I didn't know I was going to get sent off because I'm shooting this gun at people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's crazy. It's
It
craziness,
is.
man.
It is. So yeah. Yeah, they got away with one. They got away with one. Goals from Bruno Fernandes, penalty as per usual.
Yeah.
And Marcus Rashford,
In
who's
form man is Rashford.
absolutely in form. So
He's changed, and I can go back and say now, when you think about it, right now they've got the toxic player out of the team. Everybody's stepping up.
mm,
Unfortunately for
and that
me,
was my major concern. I kept saying, I didn't think that they could perform without that guy because he
well,
was so instrumental in scoring the
they were
majority of
performing
their goals
before.
the season before.
They were performing. They came second in the league before he got there. It was the team was built around Bruno. I can't say his name, Fernandez.
Mm,
Yeah, and they were doing well. Yeah, Ronaldo comes in, and then they start dropping points. They're not looking that strong. It almost looks as if they relied on Ronaldo, and they thought, well, we don't need to do nothing because he's going to do it.
yeah.
You know, and they struggled. And yes, he's a player that everybody wants because he's a great player when he's on form, and he'll pay his money back to you in what he does. But unfortunately, the rest of the team, it just didn't work. It just didn't work. Any other team, he might have done better, but with United, clearly there was some sort of toxicity that was going around once Ronaldo was there.
Mm.
You know, maybe they were just
So
jealous of his good looks. I don't know.
So I brought up the top scorer chart. I mean, there's it blown up a little bit better so people can see. And obviously, at number 4 is your boy Marcus Rashford.
Yeah,
It's interesting reading the top players. I mean, obviously Kane is the highest English scorer currently in the Premier League. But Rashford is definitely doing a thing. And bearing in mind, he's not scoring penalties. Kane is scoring penalties. Tony's scoring penalties.
yeah.
Mitrovic is scoring penalties. So, he's one of those. I mean, outside of the guy at the top of the list,
I
he's
mean,
one of those that is.
and I shouldn't say this, but I actually think that Haaland's actually now going backwards because
Interesting.
he was. And when I say going backwards, I mean just obviously the amount of goals he's scoring. You know, he was scoring for fun, and now he's not scoring for fun. He's still scoring goals, but
Yeah.
it's not for fun. It's. I think
I
now,
think you say that
with
at your peril, Neil. I think he could score
well,
3 tomorrow.
he's the captain in my fantasy football team, so I'm hoping that he will score, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he's watching this and thinking, I'm going to prove you wrong.
And
Please
and
prove me wrong. Get me loads of points. That's what I
yeah,
want.
that's what he's like though. He's one of them kind of players, and to be honest, he was like that at Dortmund.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
could go 3 games without a goal and then score a hat trick. So, he's that kind of guy. He doesn't have to be involved in play. Clearly, you obviously see his ball stats is touches is one of the lowest for any striker in the Premier
yeah,
League.
exactly.
He's basically it's a 10-man team, and he's there at the end of stuff.
But he's more consistent
Yeah,
than the other strikers. You know, he's putting
absolutely.
away
And
his
you look at his
chances.
minutes per goal. 66 minutes per goal. That's ridiculous.
That's
It's
craziness.
outrageous.
You know, it's over half a game.
Yeah,
You know, just over half a game a season per game, and he's scoring.
yeah,
You know, but we'll have to see. I mean, this obviously is his first season. Um, we're now starting to see that teams are now starting to suss him out. Next
mm,
season will be the real measure of how he is.
yeah. Indeed, indeed. Right. So let's move back to the fixtures. Wolves 3, Liverpool 0.
Yeah, I was hoping
Well,
that you would. I was hoping we'd never get to that one.
what the HELL happened here, Neil? Talk us through it.
What happened? We didn't turn up, which is what we've been doing for most of the season so far. We're not turning up. We're letting in stupid goals, set pieces. We're just do you know what? I'm not going to cry. Yeah, it is what it is right now. Um, it doesn't matter what our possession is like because our possession was good. We played a lot better in the second half, but it was too late by then. Yeah,
Mm,
we're relying on a terrible midfield. We've got players up front where we're missing key strikers. Jota might be back against Everton, but Salah clearly is not the man because he's not being challenged for his position. He's still getting games, so he could go 10 more games not scoring a goal, and he will still be first choice. And that's part of the problem with Liverpool. We just about have one squad.
mm,
Yeah, we just about have one squad, even though we've got a million strikers to play
yeah.
up front. Yeah, realistically, when you look at what Salah's done, who can really challenge him in the players that we've got for his position?
Mm,
No one. Yeah, no one. And clearly, Klopp is looking at him thinking, well, he'll come good, he'll come good. Well, he hasn't come good so far.
yeah.
Even at one stage, Bobby Firmino had scored more goals than him. And that says a
Mm,
lot, considering
yeah.
Firmino wasn't doing nothing for the past few seasons. He was
I
struggling.
think he's up. I think they're on the same goals, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You got to think about it that Salah's just not doing anything right now.
Yeah, they're on
Yeah,
7 goals each
yep,
in the league.
yeah. Look, halfway through the season, and Salah's only on 7 goals.
Yeah. And look at the
Yeah,
goals per minute. You know, Bobby Firmino's on a goal every 134 minutes, whereas Salah's a goal every 254, which is going by that list, the highest of any player in that list
right,
of top 10 players.
exactly.
So
And
he's getting a lot of pitch time, but not delivering, which
well,
is
he's getting
completely
found out. He's getting found
yeah.
out though. He's getting found
Is
out
it
because
that, or is he just? It's. I don't think he's been found out. I think the game that he plays is not the same.
no. I know he's been found out because what it is,
Really?
ever since he's
Is
come
he
to
doing
Liverpool.
things the way he was before? Because what you saw before with Mo Salah was his ability to go past the man and score with aplomb.
Yes,
Now
but the thing
he's
is,
just
no,
not
no.
doing it.
But the one thing is though, he was scoring loads and loads of goals. If you go season in season out, he's always
Yeah.
done well, and he's always challenging for that golden boot, right?
Mm,
What nobody talks about, which is more apparent now, is the amount of chances he gets and misses. Right? It's not that bad if you're going to score 20 plus goals. People will forgive you for that.
yeah.
But if you're getting the same near enough the same amount of chances and you're scoring less, people will see that more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so people are saying that to me now, well, he's missing loads. And I say, you need to watch him season in, season out. He's not missing any more than he normally does. He's just right now,
Mm,
he's just not scoring. Yeah. I mean, he'll probably get what? In a lot of games, he'll get at least what 6, 7 chances. Yeah,
yeah.
to put that ball away. Yeah. And it's not too bad if he's scoring 3 or 4 of those, or even 2 of those. Yeah. If Liverpool get the 3 points. But when you see him get that many chances and he's now not putting balls away, yeah, and like Klopp plays him, is now starting to play him centrally sometimes, yeah, which doesn't work. Him playing central does not work,
Mm,
because our wing play depended on him and Alexander Arnold, yeah. It's just not right now. It's just not happening. I know we got Nunez and I know we had got Diaz. He can play either side as well, but Nunez is new to the league. And Diaz, obviously, he's been injured. Hopefully he'll be back within the next few games. We'll have to see if he gets back in the next few games because he's now started training.
mm,
But we're missing those players. We're missing him. Definitely missing him. And, and
mm.
and we're getting caught out on that high line. When we initially playing that high line, we were able to get players back to defend. Now, because of our age in midfield, we're not getting players back. We're getting caught out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we should stop playing that high line now. With the way the form the players are playing now, we need to stop playing that high line.
Mm.
But Klopp's not changing the way he plays, and
But that
that's now getting
system
to us.
has worked for so many years. I mean, I
Yeah, but
just
it
think,
only works if your players are on form.
yeah,
Yeah, if
and
your
and it,
players are
you
not on
know
form, it doesn't work.
that that may be just what it is. You've got players who are no longer performing at the levels they were previously. I mean, let's be honest. There are teams where that happens. Leeds, a couple of years ago, when they were running at teams and pressing and flowing like 100 miles an hour, they were phenomenal. The next season, it all died. They were
Yeah, but
lucky
they
that they stayed in the
but they
division.
changed, but they adapted, which
It
kept
wasn't
them in
that they
this.
adapted. It was just the players weren't performing at the same speeds. I think what happens is you go a season where you absolutely fly everything. You know, look at what Liverpool did last year. Look at the number of games you played last year. No one could play any more physical games than Liverpool did last year. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
and
had
we
to come
practically
at a
did that with
cost,
one. Yeah, we did that with one team, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I always
right?
say to players: look, if we had two squads similar to City,
Mm.
we wouldn't be struggling the way we're struggling right now.
You know,
Yeah,
that had to come at a cost. That performance last year had to come at a cost. And I think you guys are seeing that this season. You literally haven't
yeah,
got,
yeah. But
you
you
know,
see, normally when you see a team play like that and they're flying high and they're
mm,
considered one of the top teams, you expect the owners to buy players. Yeah, so that you can you're able to swap players over, give those players rest. Yeah, FSG has only brought in two players, really, two players that make it into the first team. Yeah, and they're both strikers.
mm,
What else can you say? You know, what else can you say? Especially when your midfield is lacking, and has been lacking season in season out. And they bring in Nunes, which is he's going to be relegation, and we brought Gapco, and I'm like, yes, you got to give him a season, but I'm still kind of like, I'm not sure about him.
so what about this
17,
statement?
that's not league goals though.
You're in a lot of competitions, bro. You know, look, you're knocking this guy for only scoring 7 league goals. But the point is, he has still scored 17 goals in all competitions. And you can't just say, look, you can only count the league because you're competing in the Champions League. You're still in that competition. You've
That's the
been
only
in
thing
the
that we're
FA
still in.
Cup, you didn't go very far. You win in the
Nope,
Carabao Cup, you didn't go very
didn't go
far.
very far. Here you go.
But the point is, he still scores goals. He still had 7 assists. Who else is doing anything at Liverpool?
Nobody. Well, Bobby
So
was.
is the
Bobby
criticism
was.
fair that he's receiving when nobody else is even close to that?
No,
Nobody is close.
I think it's fair. The criticism that he's getting, I think it's fair because people expect him to do what he does season in season out. And
Mm,
this season, he's not doing it. Yeah, he's not doing it this season. And what makes it worse is he's not doing it where it should count. Yeah, where it should
mm,
count. Yeah, and he's had his chances in front of goals, and as I said, not put the ones away.
mm. What about this little story about your club?
Being sold.
Mm.
Oh no, no, I don't think
Do you know what the asking price is?
I don't know what the latest one is. I don't. I know we were looking at one time. We were looking at 3.4 billion or something like that.
Mm,
But I don't know. But it seems to change week in week out. And
mm,
we've had there was a thing on Sky where they were saying that City and United can't be sold because they're not in London, basically for the money, because they were comparing them to what the quotes that they were getting for Chelsea.
mm,
Yeah, and they were saying that if those clubs were in London, they probably get those prices, but they're not going to get anywhere near those prices. And I suppose it's true. I mean, London's premium compared to the rest of the country. It's premium,
mm,
you know. So, do I think that they'll be sold? I really don't know. Um, I would like them to be sold to someone who's willing to actually put money back into the club. Um, FSG, their model has worked for them. They've made a lot of
mm,
money off a lot of players, yeah, but that money's gone into their pockets. It hasn't been reinvested back into the club. Yes, they have helped with the stadium and a new stand, and Liverpool are benefiting from that. But do you know what? For them to see the amount, for them to see money to buy decent players, that's got to be over a number of years now. And Liverpool need the money now, not 2, 3, 4 years from now when they would have made
Mm.
that sort of money back. Yeah, they for some reason they're not willing to invest in the club. Well, when it comes to players,
Yeah.
no, they've helped everywhere else out, apart from players. And I'm sure John Henry is watching the games. Yeah, he can see
Really?
what's happening. Well,
I'm not
he's
so convinced. I don't
he's
think
been seen at
American
he's been
football.
seen
I
at a
don't
couple of
think
games.
American football owners really are watching English football league. I really don't. I don't think they understand the offside rule.
No, they don't understand England on the whole. They don't
Mm.
understand that. You see, you've got to look at what they do in America. You've got to look at the money that they have access to. You got to
Yeah,
look at got to look at
the
when
model of the
companies like
NBA and
exactly
the
when
NFL.
companies like Nike and whatever come in and they're
Mm.
throwing bucket loads, serious amounts of money into those. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't get that amount of money. Plus, when you've also got to look at the amount of fans that go to those games.
Mm.
Yeah, their stadiums are practically full, no matter what. Yeah, you'll only see like the top teams in the Premiership, which will have full stadiums. But when you start looking at the Coca-Cola Championship and all those leagues below, not seeing that they're not seeing that money. They're struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the Premier League is the only league realistically in this country. All the others are
Yeah.
just like they're just other leagues.
Well, as I heard someone on another channel describe it, the Premier League is currently the Super League.
Mm.
Because if you look at what Chelsea spent in the transfer window between January and the summer, they've spent eclipses all the leagues in Europe combined.
Yes.
Combined.
They
So,
what the other
every
leagues
other
didn't they?
league is looking at the Premier League and going, what
Wasn't
the
that
hell is
wasn't that
going
something like
on?
100? Wasn't the combined money was what? It's about 135 million, wasn't it, or something like that?
I ain't got the figures, but
And
I
Chelsea
just know.
Chelsea was like 360 or 351 or something like that.
Well, Chelsea spent 600 million.
No, just last transfer window.
Oh right, yeah, but in the two windows combined,
Yeah. Oh
it's
no.
a ridiculous sum.
They
It's a
spent more.
ridiculous sum of
I think
money.
they spent more in this transfer window
Mm,
than the leagues, European leagues over both transfer windows. I think it
yeah,
was.
that's what I'm saying.
It's
Um,
crazy.
and that's why the English league currently is the Super League
Yeah.
because Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, Bayern Munich, they're all jealous because
Yeah.
we can spend money way beyond what they can comprehend. I mean, all right, yeah, PSG have got big backers. Real Madrid have got big backers, but really and truly, the money ain't in those leagues.
No, definitely not.
You know, the money is here in the Premier League, like boxing. You know,
Sponsor.
people are coming to
It's down to
England to
sponsorship, isn't
box
it?
our guys because this is where the money is.
It's the power of the country.
Yeah.
It's the power of the country. That's what it is. Because we can go out and we can sell our stuff. Yeah, but if you notice, when we sell our stuff, we'll only look at one section. So if you look at football, that is just the Premier League. That's what's
Mm.
sold. That's the go-to. This country's go-to for going across the world. That's our go-to for saying we can sell these games in these countries, and these countries will buy it. That's why the Premier League is one of the most famous leagues in the world right now, because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine if the Coca-Cola Championship got that, or if League One got that sort of sponsorship?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be ridiculous. But it's
I
only
mean,
Premier League that
I
gets
mean, what
that.
you got to consider is the trickle down effect down to grassroots football is way bigger than any other country. You
Yeah.
know, we might not think it's a big amount, but it's way bigger than any other country.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
what team? There are teams in the championship who get bigger gates than top three sides in Germany, Spain, and Italy.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you got to look at the Premiership is the flagship. Yeah.
yeah,
When they started up with the Premiership, it was to increase the amount of people that's watching the game in this country and across the world. Yeah,
mm,
you got to look at the companies that they dealt with. to sell it to
Yeah.
these countries, to broadcast it. Yeah, it's on every medium.
Yeah.
You can watch it anywhere on anything. Yeah, and they've done it so well. They've done it so well. You know,
Mm.
I wish they did that so I could have the money. I'd have some of that. Just give me a couple thousand, I'd be happy.
Cool. Right, let's move on. Last game on Saturday was
Newcastle, West Ham.
Newcastle at home to West Ham, a game that Newcastle drew 1-1.
That was a blip. It's a blip with Newcastle, but West Ham did play well. They played
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and they're
I
another
think
struggling team.
you know, look, teams have clearly showed their fallibility this last weekend. You know, certain teams like Arsenal, like Newcastle, have fantastic starting 11s, but they do play that starting 11 continuously, and at some point in time, they have to rely on reserves to come in and help those guys out, and the drop off is quite big, and that's what I think Newcastle are finding. You know, they have to play that start 11, and they have to perform every week in, week out. Now it's all right in the first half of the season, but in the second half, they become very wary.
Yeah, but
They can get leggy.
Newcastle are only going to build on that. This is just like a tester season to them.
Mm,
You know, they finally got a team that can do stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
and now it's like bringing in the right players to swap in and out depending on what
yeah,
game they're playing. Yeah, and we know that they haven't started spending their mega bucks yet, but they will do. That's
mm,
going to be a completely in a couple of seasons. That's going to be a completely different, much stronger team. You know, and games like last week against West Ham, they're going to be few and far between.
mm,
You know, but for what they've done, and you know the amount of money they spent, and the results they're getting right now, they're doing brilliantly. You know, so can you imagine when they start spending big bucks and
yeah,
bringing in the players? That's the only thing that goes against them is their history. Yeah, and the fact
mm,
that they've been relegated and they've come back up. That's unfortunately that's stuff that people still see when people look them up, when players are looking and saying, "Oh, Newcastle are interested in me. Let me have a look at their history. Let me see what they've done. Let me see who they are. Are they a big club? They're not realistically a big club, even though they've now got the money. They were in a situation where they weren't looked or considered as a big club, but moving forward, they will be.
mm,
You know, and that will draw the better managers. And if it brings in better managers, it's going to be bringing much better quality players as well.
yeah.
You know, they haven't at the moment. Mr. Howe's doing well with them, but I can't see Newcastle staying with him for too much longer. They will bring in a big name manager to attract those players, especially when it comes to playing in Europe. You know,
Interesting.
when a player comes in, looks at a club, they look at the club, they look at the history, they look at their recent history, and they look at the manager.
Mm,
Yeah, and if they're going, Eddie, who's he? What's he done? What's he won? Yeah, but if you bring in a big manager like an Ancelotti, for example, hey, more people know about Ancelotti than they do Eddie Howe.
Ancelotti's going to Brazil, brother.
Yeah, I know. No, I just use that as an example because he's a
Yeah,
big name
yeah,
that everybody knows. Yeah, and players want to play for managers like that. Yeah,
yeah,
Eddie
yeah.
Howe hasn't cut his teeth like that yet. Yeah,
Mm,
I mean, if he's fortunate to stay with Newcastle for the next couple of seasons and they do win things, then yeah, he'll have that on his resume. But right now, he hasn't got that sort of stuff on his resume.
mm,
You know, it's not to say that he won't be a great manager. He's just not a great manager today.
yeah.
When you're looking at those world class players, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for great managers who's won stuff, you know, and has that competency. Yeah,
Mm.
Eddie Howe's just got a couple of no name. Well, oh, to us, we know Bournemouth, but when you go into Europe, how many teams actually know about you? How many players know about Bournemouth?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they go through in the summer. They had a fairly quiet January transfer window. But yeah, I'm pretty certain if they've got Champions League football, there'll be a huge outlay in the summer to try and attract some of the best. but so will everybody else, and
Yeah.
therefore it's going to be an interesting scenario to see where the top players will be landing this summer.
Yeah, it's whether they can sell their story to potential big name players.
Yeah.
You know?
So that leaves us to move on to
Still got
Sunday's
City.
games.
Yeah,
Forest 1-0 against Leeds.
that was a
Forest
good
not
game.
doing too bad for themselves currently. Not going to talk too much about that game unless you got anything to say about it.
Not really. I mean, Forest, they played well. Leeds did have a lot of play. You know, sometimes, you know, I actually thought that Leeds were actually going to win the game. Even when they were losing, I thought they were going to win the game. They just could not put away their chances. You know, Leeds actually showed that they're good enough to stay up.
Yeah.
But they've
I
got
mean,
to do that
Leeds had 70% possession to Nottingham Forest's 30. They had
exactly.
10 shots to their 6. They
They've
had
got to
4
put
on
their chances
target to
away.
their 2. They had
Yeah,
2
they've got to
corners to 0. But
exactly.
yeah,
You know, they showed what they're
match
capable of doing.
domination, but didn't take their chances, similar
Exactly.
to Arsenal at Everton.
Exactly.
Tottenham then was the big game. Tottenham against
Andy's
Man
not
City.
here, is he? Andy's not here to gloat to
gloat,
Drew.
yeah.
Do you know what, right? Kane's goal was, I mean, that was something else, man.
Yeah.
That was something else, you know, and to hit that landmark as well. Wow. And you know, sorry, Drew, but I really did want Tottenham to win. I really did want them to win, and they did it. But I before the game, I could not see Tottenham winning. Yeah, I just could not see them winning. But do you know, it's that Pep thing as well. Pep knew what happened in the game, even though they won. Was it 4-2?
Yeah.
It was 4-2, and they went 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And you can see Pep was being stubborn. He was itching to bring on his big players, but if you brought on his big players, he'd look a bit of an arse. Oh, sorry, he'd look a bit silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his decision
But
to
those
not
players,
start to not start Kevin De Bruyne just looks like a.
that's you see that's where he was getting. I think he was getting out of his station. There's another word I want to use, but he was getting out of his station because he's clearly looking that. Do you know what? I did it against them. I'll do it against them again. There's no way they're going to win. There's no way they're going to score loads of goals. And even if we do, we've got players like Mahrez who's going to score goals. Yeah. But the fact that he did not start KDB, I just I thought, look, you were lucky the first time.
Yeah.
Right. Why are you going to that well again? He's your best player by far. The one player that you have to start, right, as long as he's fit, yeah, is KDB. Because the team's practically built around him. Yeah, you take him out of that jigsaw. That jigsaw has a gaping hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still looks good, but you see there's a piece missing. You know, but
is he just now realizing that, you know what, KDB is now getting to that stage of his career. You know, he's obviously you know, he doesn't look anything like the player he used to be. Specifically his time for Belgium, you know, he looks a shadow. I kind of think, like, you know, as he just turned over the hill in terms of, you know, career performances. He's now just slightly on the decline, and I think Pep's seeing it and going, I now need to start looking at his successor.
Well, do you know what, right? Pep should have been looking at that a few seasons ago. Yeah, Pep's supposed to be this great manager, right? Great managers look forward. Yeah, they look into the future and they kind of say, well, do you know what? KDB is a very good player. What happens if he gets injured? What if he's out for half a season? He should have been thinking about his successor a few seasons ago. Yeah. KDB he's on a bit of a decline, but then, to be honest, when he played for Belgium and you look at the World Cup, did Belgium really do what they were supposed to do? Did they look as good as they were supposed to? They looked terrible, in my view.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't all that. You know,
yeah.
Every time you see Belgium, you know, they had the team that was supposed to win it all.
Yeah.
What have they actually won? since that
And
team.
and now they're you know, they were the top ranked team in the world, and now that's falling apart at the seams. You know, they look
Yeah,
like a
but
team of has-beens and
even
never will
when they
be's
were
ever
even
again.
when they were the top ranked team, I still couldn't see why they were the top ranked team.
I could.
Personally, I couldn't see it
They
because
had a plethora of really world class players that you
no,
were
they had
like,
world class
well,
players. No, it's one thing having world class players, yeah. It's another thing making them play all well together and getting the
yeah,
results you want. What have
mm,
under the when they had those players first come in and they started looking good, what have they won? Because that's the whole point, right? You put that team together to win something, the Euros or the World Cup. Yeah. What have they won?
mm,
You
yeah.
know,
No,
you know,
you're right. Um, there's a comment here from Kirk. I really like Wilfred Gnonto at Leeds. Looks a great player. Absolutely, you know, considering that they paid, what was it, 3.8 million for him. Very good. Reading some stats up on him actually, and you know, his dispossession stats are ridiculous. You know, he only gets dispossessed 1.3 times per 90 minutes in the league, which you know is really good. You know,
he's a
definitely
good player.
one to watch.
He's one for the future.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, the way I see a lot of these players, you only see their best once they leave teams like Leeds.
Mm,
It's a big club going to come in for him.
yeah.
And if they do
And
come
he
in for
has to
him,
show it over 2 seasons because
yes,
you know it's all very well, you know, having this season coming in, being fresh faced, um, you know, burning players, scoring goals, and then next season, can you do it again? Because that's really the acid test.
the first season, people don't know you.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're not
yeah,
sure what to expect, you know.
exactly.
And when you play outside your station, i.e., we know that when it comes to the Premiership, most
Mm,
teams play as a team. They don't have these. They have individuals, but they don't shine as individuals because they're
yeah.
told to play as a team and play for the team. Yeah.
Mm,
Um. Is this player going to be one of those? Is he going to play for the team? Is he going to look as good? Leeds, remember, Leeds are struggling at times.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're not going to see, you'll see him play well against certain clubs, but when he goes against the big clubs, will he play as well? Will he look as good? You
Mm,
know, will these clubs come in for him? Because if he get, you know, it's someone like, I say Chelsea because Chelsea will buy any and everybody anyway, right? Could he fit into their team? Will they develop him? Will they make him the player that he should be?
yeah.
You know, lots
So
of
talking
questions, no
about
answers.
Ganonto, as Kirk mentioned, that takes us on to our last fixture of the week, which was a midweek fixture between Man United and Leeds. Um, Obviously, there's been recent talk, obviously, with both Arsenal and Manchester City dropping points, that Manchester United would shoot back into the title mix, but then they sort of come down crashing with this result in midweek where they draw at Old Trafford 2-2 against Leeds. Um, did you have you got any thoughts on this particular
I
score
watched,
of the game?
yeah, I watched some of the game. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched some of the game. Varane's own goal just made me laugh. I was so happy when that happened, for obvious reasons. um, but yeah, it was a good game. Leeds do what they do. Leeds look poor against teams around them,
Mm,
but every now and then when they go against a club that's riding high like United, they'll pull it all out. This game, if you look at this game, you look at Leeds' other games, you swear Leeds have two squads and they play one squad for the top teams and one squad for the teams around them. And the squad that plays the teams around them does nothing. Looks
mm,
poor, looks pitiful, can't do anything. Um, so yeah, I was kind of impressed with the way they played against United, and I was so happy when they went 1-0 up within a minute, man. Within a
mm,
minute,
yeah.
you know, and that was a goal. United got caught out, man. They got caught out.
And
You know,
obviously, how different is the team without Casemiro? You know, and he'll be out for another 2 games. So, um,
yeah. Do you know? But yeah, they do. They do. look different without Casemiro, but they're still good enough to win the majority of the
Mm,
games while
yeah.
he's out. They're still
Nice to
good enough.
see Jadon Sancho coming back and getting a
Yeah,
goal.
Well, Sancho, he needed that for his confidence, right?
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
he was. You could see they started to leave him on the sideline.
Mm,
Yeah, when he first came in, oh, this is gonna be a great player. But you knew that they were gonna play him. He was gonna get lots and lots of game time.
yeah.
But as the weeks go on and as we got further into the league, he got less and less game time. And do you know what, Rashford? Rashford, he's a new player right now. He's a new player right now. Him and Martial, they looked as if they were on the way to the exit within United, in my view.
Yeah.
I thought that was it. This will be their last season. They're not doing as well. They're not scoring any goals. Then Rashford's just had this like new lease of life. He can't stop scoring goals right now.
Yeah.
He can't stop scoring goals right now. Um, will he be there at the end of the season? Yeah, he definitely will be. I can't see United getting rid of him now. They may have been considering it maybe at the beginning of the season, or quarter of the way through the season because he weren't doing all. But nah, any thoughts of that? That's all gone now. You know,
Mm,
and he's getting more and more game time now. And it's funny how you see more of this since Ronaldo's gone.
cool.
And I think he was holding a lot of these players back, and he wasn't doing it personally himself, but it's just the way he was looked at as a player within United.
Yeah.
He was always gonna get that first bite of the apple, right? But then when he started kicking up stink and upsetting people, you can see that toxicity. As I said before, it went across all the players. They all went down. They all started playing bad. You know,
Mm.
and which is why I'm upset that they got rid of him. He should have stayed there till the end of the season, man. I would have been happy because they would have been down where we are right now with us. Kept us company.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so that completes our review of the last week of football. I was hoping that somebody would have joined us by now so that we could have gone into the Man City thing, but I think I'm going to leave that for a week because it's going to have legs for ages. This is going to go on for years. Apollo
Knowing
and I,
Andy, he's going to bring it up next week.
yeah.
Knowing Drew's not going to be here to listen to it.
Absolutely. So for those who haven't or are watching this and haven't not seen it, Apollo and I did a podcast on a channel called I Am Sure Sport, which is a channel based in Jamaica. It's on our channel, I believe, or at least it's on Apollo's Twitter feed, which is 101 on Arsenal. Interview was on Wednesday evening. It was a very interesting conversation. We did spend a fair amount of time talking about financial fair play and Man City in that situation. For those who don't understand patois, you may struggle with some of the language. So yeah, we'll get into that another time. I'm keen to get us out of here early today, Neil, because as you know, we've really delved in.
We
We'll
didn't
run
address
through.
the elephant in the room with City.
Yeah, we'll do that next week with all the others around. Let's go through next week or this weekend's fixtures real quick.
Cool.
Starts off tomorrow morning. West Ham, Chelsea. Your prediction, mate?
1-0 Chelsea.
I'm gonna go 2-0 Chelsea. Arsenal, Brentford.
2-1 Arsenal. It's going to be a close game.
I'll go 3-1 Arsenal.
Wow.
Crystal Palace, Brighton.
Oh, Brighton 2-0.
I'm gonna go 1-1 on this one. I think Crystal
Really?
Palace at home might be a little bit more dogged.
Brighton are flying high, man. They're flying high.
For sure. But I just got a feeling about Palace at home.
Okay.
Fulham against Nottingham Forest.
Oh, this one's gonna be a tough one to call. 2-1 Fulham.
I'll join you on that one. 2-1 to Fulham. Yeah. Leicester at home to Tottenham.
1-0 Spurs.
I think they get battered here. I think Tottenham win 3-0. No, I think Tottenham win 3-0.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a closer game. I think it's
No,
gonna be a much closer game.
I don't.
Let's.
Southampton at home to Wolves.
Oh, that's Wolves all day. Oh, actually, no. Maybe, yeah. No, Wolves all
Really?
day. Wolves all day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have a feeling that Southampton are going to surprise a couple of teams, but Wolves are riding high right now. So, 2-1 Wolves. It's not going to be a walk. It's not going to be a walkover, but I see Wolves winning.
Okay. Seeing as they dispatched Liverpool with a plum 3-0 in the week, I think Wolves will win 3-1.
Okay.
Bournemouth at home to Newcastle.
Yeah, it's Newcastle every day. That one.
Yeah.
It's what's going to be the score? I'm going to be brave. 4-1 Newcastle.
Okay. I'm going to go 2-0 to Newcastle. Then we go over to Sunday's game. Leeds at home to Man United. This is going to be a feisty one. As you said, they're playing each other again.
Yeah, they're playing each other again. And, I actually think that United will actually win this one. So I'd say 2-1 United. It will be a close game, though.
Leeds at home, so I'm not so sure on that one, to be honest.
I want Leeds to. I want to say Leeds to win, but I just can't see
Leeds
them winning.
to win.
Rashford, unless Rashford gets injured,
yeah,
before the game, which I can't see it happening because I see Rashford scoring 1, maybe 2 goals in this game.
I can see this being another draw, 1-1.
Okay.
Manchester City at home to Aston Villa.
Oh, well, they clearly got to bounce back after their loss to Spurs. And I really do feel sorry for Villa is the next team to play them. 4-0 City.
Yeah. I'm gonna trump you. I'm gonna go 5-0 to City.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think they come out all guns blazing. They've had a whole week to prepare. Haaland hat trick.
Yeah. Well, do you know? Yeah. I could see that happening against Villa. That happening against Villa.
Okay, Monday night, your big game.
Oh, yeah, this is that. Like, forget form in this game. It's going to be a 2-2 draw.
2-2. Okay, I'm gonna go Liverpool 2-0.
I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong. We need the 3 points badly.
And then on Wednesday night,
this is the big game. The big game, man.
The big game of the week. What's your thoughts?
Do you know what? That depends on who plays against Villa. Yeah, it depends on who plays against Villa. He got cocky against. He got silly against Spurs.
Yeah,
and he paid the price. He's not going to take that risk against City. He will play the KDB. He'll play his strongest side. Yeah, you guys are riding high, and I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping it's going to be 2-1 to you guys. I'm hoping. Yeah, but as I said, it depends on who plays against. I think he'll play his second team against Villa. Yeah, but against you guys, that's the first team all day. He cannot afford to drop points because that makes that gap between you two even bigger if you win.
Absolutely.
He can't take that. He's not taking that risk, man.
Yeah,
he's not taking that risk.
I'll take a draw.
I'm gonna say.
Go on, you go.
I say 2-1 Arsenal. I'm putting it out there. 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay. Well, as I said, I would take a draw. But I got a feeling we'll win this one. I don't feel Manchester City defense is strong enough against our threat up front. So I think we score 1, maybe 2. However, Man City probably going to be good for a goal. So I'm going Arsenal 2-1.
Cool.
And that, my friend, completes our roundup for last week and this weekend coming up. Any last closing points you want to mention?
Yeah. Liverpool injured players, please come back for the Everton game. I don't care where you are in recovery right now. You need to be on that pitch and you need to turn up. That's what I can say right now. And I'm hoping that everybody's like this podcast. Has had a good time. Have a good weekend, all. And we'll see you next week. That's all I've got to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll echo that and wish you all a great weekend. I'm off for the week now because school's off. School's off. Yay! No kids
Yay!
for a week. So yeah, everyone have a great week and we'll catch you next week. Salute.
All right. Have a good one, people. See you later.